What is up, my beautiful people? My name is G-Vans and welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about the new album by Jhené Aiko entitled Chilombo. And I really hope I'm saying that right. This album comes to us about 2 years since 2017's Trip, which that one was a really like weird sort of psychedelic mix with R&B sort of vibe, which I'm gonna be honest, at the time I was pretty like judgmental on weird shit, and I was like, I don't think I fuck with this. But now that when I listen to that album now, it's a pretty smart and like a pretty like weird and different album. And um weird is different. I appreciate weird more. So this album is titled after Jhené Aiko's like actual last name, and pretty much it's her like having all this anger and sadness that she's been building up and just releasing it and making a very therapeutic album, and just an album that I think can be relatable just to anybody who might be listening to it. I did some research on this album, and Jhené Aiko dead ass went all the way to Hawaii to make this album happen. Like, I think that's some pretty good dedication if you go to a different state to make sure that a project turns out perfect. Like that's some dedication, and I really appreciate that because I personally think this album turned out pretty fucking great. I'm gonna be honest, for an album that has an overall theme of heartbreak and just dealing with the cycle of a heartbreak, it really like doesn't make you sad. If anything, it makes you a lot more like happy, and it just like makes you peaceful in general. And I think the reason for that is because of the production value of this album. I honestly don't think I would put this in a category of a typical R&B album, because honestly it doesn't really sound like your typical R&B album, because most of the songs are like more acoustic. There's not that many like slow beats to this. Like there's a lot of guitars. I'm pretty sure I heard a ukulele at some point, and I definitely heard at least one piano on one song. And not to mention, there's also a lot of background noise in every song. There's like a bunch of birds and whatnot. You hear like waves. You can hear the wind blowing, shit like that. It almost seems as if Jhené Aiko was meditating as she was making this whole album. So I definitely did really love the whole like background noise, because it just like really makes you feel like you're like chilling on the beach in Hawaii, just not giving a fuck about what's going on in your personal life, just worry free. So pretty much Jhené Aiko is on a road to self-discovery, as she pretty much paints the real picture of what it's like to go through a cycle of dealing with a heartbreak, and struggling to move on from somebody who she has spent a tremendous amount of time with, and that she actually felt was like, oh shit, like I think this might be the person that I want to be with for the rest of my life. She pretty much like breaks down like every stage of that cycle. Pretty much the beginning of the album is Jhené Aiko just focusing on her happiness and just focusing on having fun, trying to like let everybody know that she's okay, she's fine, it's not phasing her, just doing whatever it is that she can do to try and get over the breakup. And then you get to the middle of the album, where you pretty much can tell that Jhené Aiko is like sort of like losing herself, sort of going crazy, like realizing that she does misses her past significant other, and like realizing that she like definitely is struggling to move on, and struggling to cope with the pain of the fact that she may not ever like see this person again. Maybe they'll stay together like as friends, but like she'll never get that like significant other like relationship back with them ever again. And then you get to the end of the album, maybe the last like 7 tracks, and that's when Jhené Aiko is pretty much, realizing that she's okay, realizing that the breakup happened, just pretty much accepting the breakup, and just, what, at that point, just focusing on herself, just focusing on getting her shit together. And at the end, she does not wish any ill on her past significant other whatsoever. She sends nothing but positive vibes, and just pretty much just like shows a bit of maturity, I guess you could say. For me, I would say that Jhené Aiko is sort of like saying that everybody goes through this like hardship cycle that is a breakup, including artists that are supposed to be okay, and like not have a worry in the world. But at the same time, I feel like she's also like finding a way to like let her fans learn from her mistakes, so they don't have to go through like what she has to go through, and so they don't have to go through a really like rough breakup cycle, because at some point I feel like we all are gonna have to go through a breakup at some point. I went through a really rough breakup back in high school, so you know I'm fine now, but it's just hearing this album just like brings up those memories back then. And so like I really wish this album would have came out when I was in high school, because I feel like it would have helped me out a lot. So that's another thing of what I appreciate Jhené Aiko of doing. And of course, there are a few features on this album that I personally think are one of the big highlights of this album. Surprisingly, Big Sean does make an appearance on this album on a song called "None of Your Concern," which is pretty much Jhené Aiko and Big Sean sort of like, in a way, confronting each other of like what's been going on since the breakup, and also like in a way like finally addressing the breakup to their fans, and like just what's been going on in their personal life since then, and just if they're seeing other people. I was really surprised to see that Big Sean was on this album, because at first I was like, so are they back together? But in all honesty, Big Sean being one of my favorite rappers of all time, I do think that him and Jhené Aiko always sound really fucking good when they're on a song together. Even though this song kind of seemed like they were like kind of like not on good terms, I'm still really glad that they can like look past like their differences and their past, and just past the bullshit, and just like still come together and work on music together, because I honestly think that Jhené Aiko and Big Sean like are always really fucking good together. And besides Big Sean, another surprising feature for me at least was Miguel when he showed up on a song called "Happiness Over Everything," which that one is just like the reassurance that happiness is coming, that happiness is around the corner, and that pretty much that nobody knows what the future holds, whether Jhené Aiko and Big Sean are going to get back together or not, whether Jhené Aiko is going to end up being with somebody else, just pretty much so be it. Just nobody like truly knows what the future is gonna like hold, and like what's to come after this, but like just reassurance that no matter what happens, happiness will happen. And of course, there are a few other rap features on this album, like for example, Absol from Top Dog Entertainment makes an appearance, and actually Nas also makes an appearance on this album too, which I actually did appreciate that Nas and Absol like didn't like rap fast. Like I really appreciated that they sort of like kept it chill and sort of like rapped a bit slower. And I also did like appreciate that even though there were other rap features on this album besides Big Sean, that Jhené Aiko still kept that same like acoustic background noise, sort of like Hawaiian sort of like sound, and like she didn't like change the sound of it just because they were like rap features. So I really appreciated that she like wanted this whole album to sound the way she wanted it to. Honestly, I think my favorite song on this album is Lightning and Thunder with John Legend, because first of all, yeah, you hear like lightning and thunder in the background as this song is going on, which I think sounds really fucking cool. But honestly, the main reason is because Jhené Aiko and John Legend sound super fucking great together. Like, I don't know if they've ever done a song before this, but if this is their first time, I can't believe it took this long, because those two sound like fucking angels together, like they sound so fucking beautiful together, and I just really enjoy that fucking song. Overall, this album sounds like an amazing and magical daydream that you don't ever want to wake up from, and I highly recommend this one to all of you. Whether you're a Jhené Aiko fan or not, just listen to it. Like, it is the album of 2020 that you just have to listen to at least once. And with that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, click that bell down below, all that good stuff so you don't miss a single one of my uploads whatsoever, and don't forget to stay happy.
Been up since 6 to win brick walls, burning incense just to